All right, today we're going to be talking about adding and subtracting polynomials. So we're going to talk about adding polynomials, and we're going to talk about subtracting polynomials. Very much, not much more than that. Now, when we are adding polynomials or subtracting polynomials, we can only do what's called like terms. So we can only do y squareds with y squareds, y's with y's, numbers with numbers, x's with x's. And the interesting thing about adding or subtracting them is we're not going to change the variables at all. It's like going ahead and having it's like having a label. So like 7 apples and 5 apples. When I add them together, I have 12 apples. It doesn't change the label. It's not 12 apples squared, or it's not 12 oranges or something different. And when we're adding them together, it's the same kind of thing here. These y squareds only go with y squareds, and they're still just y squareds. They don't change into something different. So when I have this, the 7y squared is going to go with this 5y squared. So they have two different methods. They call it the horizontal and the vertical. For the most part, we're going to do the horizontal. If you want to do the vertical because it reminds you of grade school, feel free to do so. However, it takes up a lot more work on your page and things like that. This is normally the way that most people do it once they reach high school. Very adult of you. All right, so we're going to go separate these in terms of like terms. So the 7y squared gets with the 5y squared, and the 2y gets with the negative 4y, and the negative 3 goes with the 2. Remember, these are called quadratics because they're squared, and these are linear terms because it's just the first degree. And then these are called constants. So we're going to go ahead and add those together. So 5 plus 7 is 12. 2 and negative 4 is negative 2. And negative 3 and 2 is negative 1. And notice they do not change at all. So here's the vertical method. You just line them up vertically with the pairs that they are. And again, this is not necessarily what we end up doing on our paper a lot. So it would be like a side thing to do on the side, and then it just kind of messes up our kind of flow. But it's the same kind of idea. We just add straight down. And that should reminisce a little bit from adding in grade school. So it's the same answer, obviously, either way. So let's take a look at here. Let's put things together. The 3x squared and the negative 5x. So 3x squared and negative 5x is negative 2x squared. The 2x and 3x is 5x. Negative 1 and 4 is 3. Well, which one has these? Well, that's A. Yay, A. How about subtracting polynomials? We need to be a little bit careful when subtracting this because it goes ahead and this negative goes through to everything that's inside. So when we're going ahead and doing this, we're going to change the negative. We're going to distribute the negative through. So notice what happens here. We have that negative, and then we change it to a plus, but everything else changes signs. So this becomes negative 9, and then positive 7, and then negative 2. To do that, we go ahead and change all these signs to make it a plus. And then once it's a plus, then we can just add it together. That is one way of doing it. So here we have the 8y and the negative 9. Those are going to go together. And the 6y with the negative 2y, and the negative 5y with the 7y. Again, like terms get added together. That gives us negative 1y to the 4th, 4y squared, and 2y. I know we just got done doing all kinds of multiplication where we go ahead and we add their exponents and things like that. When we're adding piles together is basically what this is doing. I have 5 y's, and I'm going to add 7 more y's to it. Those are things that are alike, and you just put them together. So what about this one? You can write it as a subtraction, but just write it out so that you can make sure that you don't have an issue or a problem. So we have 3x squared here, and that's minus 5x cubed. I said squared, didn't I? That's cubed. So that's that middle line right here, which is negative 2x cubed. Then I have 2x squared minus an x squared, which is, or 1x squared, which is just 1x squared. And the negative 4 minus a negative 2 gives me a positive 1x to the 4th. So again, looking at those answers, we're looking here at B. Now here's a little bit of a tricky one I wanted to go over. 5x squared minus x squared. That's fine. That's 4x squared. But now I have this 4x. There's no x's over here. So notice what I did. I wrote 0x. 0x minus 4x is still negative 4x. And then there's no constant over here, so it's negative 3 minus 0, which is still just negative 3. So be careful of that when there's no value over here. Don't try to force the 3 and the 4x together. Write 0x. Write the extra 0 so they all have the exact same amount of terms so it all lines up. So 4x squared minus 4x minus 3. And that's what I have for you today.